Have you ever been fired by a company who later found that you were irreplaceable after firing you? I was 29 when I got fired from the company I'd poured 5 years into, a mid-sized logistics firm. Nothing glamorous, but I loved the rhythm of it, scheduling freight, solving bottlenecks, keeping everything moving behind the scenes. I wasn't the loudest person in meetings, but I was reliable. My job was to make other people look like they knew what they were doing. Then came the merger. The new management came in with buzzword charts and shiny suits. They didn't understand how our operation worked, but they acted like the place was failing without their revolutionary structure. I wasn't worried at first, until one Friday afternoon, I was called in and handed a severance packet. No warning. "We're restructuring," they said. "We think automation can handle most of what you were doing." It felt like someone unplugged me. I packed up my desk in silence. The HR lady looked more uncomfortable than I did. I didn't even get a goodbye email from my team. They weren't told until I was already gone. My badge stopped working the next day. I sat in my car for half an hour, just staring at the building, wondering how something so routine could disappear that fast. For weeks, I was numb. I didn't know how to explain it to my wife without sounding like I'd failed. I kept thinking back to how I trained half the new hires, how I built that Excel tracker that saved thousands a year, how I took calls at 2 a.m. when drivers got stuck. I applied to other jobs, but nothing felt right. One recruiter asked, "Why'd they let you go if you were so essential?" I didn't have an answer. I started freelancing, consulting for small firms, optimizing supply chains, designing systems. I made ends meet, but I felt like a ghost. The only comfort I had was knowing I did my job right. I had no regrets about my work ethic, just regrets about how easy it was for someone in a suit to cut me loose. Then one day, I got an email from the company I was fired from. Subject line, "We'd like to reconnect." Turns out the automation couldn't think 2 steps ahead. Shipments were late. Customers were furious. No one knew how the rerouting matrix worked because I never documented it. I just did it. Morale tanked. Their biggest client threatened to leave. The new guy lasted 6 weeks. Didn't even finish onboarding before he quit. So what did they do? They called me. "We were wondering," the email read, "if you'd consider returning, even in a consulting capacity. We need someone who understands the system." I didn't reply for 2 days, not because I was bitter, but because I wanted to answer on my terms. I needed time to think, time to remember who I was outside of that badge and ID number. I eventually called back and said, "Sure, I'll help, but I'm not coming back as an employee. I'll be a contractor," and I set the rates. They agreed within the hour. When I walked back in, people clapped. No joke, actual clapping. The guy they replaced me with had lasted 6 weeks. My old manager pulled me aside and whispered, "We messed up. We didn't know how much glue you were holding together." I fixed the crisis in 2 weeks. Now I consult for them twice a month for double the pay and none of the stress. They even offered me a full-time role again. I turned it down. I've built something better for myself. Freedom, confidence, leverage. Getting fired felt like a slap in the face. But looking back, it was a promotion I didn't know I deserved. If they hadn't pushed me out, I would have stayed in that comfort zone forever. Sometimes you're only seen clearly once you're gone. And when they tell me now, "We should have never let you go," I smile and say, "I know,